You're watching Adorama TV.
Hi everybody, welcome to another episode of Adorama TV product reviews. Today we're going to be talking about the Canon Vixia XA10, and it is an awesome camcorder that is perfect for home movies, but you can also use this for making home videos and even professional work. It's a high-end prosumer camera. It's $1,849 is what it retails for, and it's got a lot of features and different attachments and things. And so let me tell you why I really love this camera. Well, first of all, it shoots in full HD 1080p and it records in the AVCHD format, which means that you can take these cards. It's got two SD card slots right here. You can take those cards out, throw them in your laptop or your home computer, edit movies in iMovie or Windows Movie Maker or Premiere or Final Cut Pro, whatever you want. AVCHD is very common, and so it's ready to go. You can edit things. It's got some built-in functionality, little things that you can touch the screen and make magic happen. It's really cool. I'll show you those in a little bit. But let me keep continuing showing you some of the features here. This has a 10x HD lens, and what that means, if you're a normal shooter, 35mm equivalent would mean this is a 30mm all the way to a 304mm lens, which means you can do a lot of wide angle stuff as well as zooming way in on things. And so if you need to get close to that recital or a presentation, wherever, you can zoom right in. But if you're traveling, you want to see those scenic views, you can get those as well. The neat thing about this camera is, in addition to these SD cards here, it actually has a built-in internal flash drive that's 64 gigabytes. So if something happens, you forget to put the cards in or you don't have them, you just need to get some stuff really quickly, you can just record straight to the camera's internal memory, which is a really nice feature. But in addition to that, this has two SD card slots, A and B, and these are SDXC card slots, so high capacity cards. And the nice thing is you can record on one card or the other, or you can record to both cards at the same time. And so if something happens, God forbid, to one of these cards, you have an instant backup, which is really nice. Now, to power it on, there's this little button right here that you push, and it makes this little chime. And almost all of the controls are right here on this touch screen. And so what that touch screen allows you to do, it tells you things like, hey, you don't have a memory card. I can push this function button. I can go in, I can set the autofocus or the white balance or the zoom. I can change all kinds of things, and I can customize what this camera does, and it can behave exactly as I want it to behave. You can turn on image stabilization, turn that off. You can shoot this in manual mode or full auto mode. You can use modes like aperture priority or shutter priority. So all those advanced features that you're used to, they're built into this camera, and it's really easy to use. Now, the nice thing I like about this is it's got some buttons right over here that work in addition to the touch screen. And so I'm going to show you this little attachment here in a second. You can see how these work in addition to how this camera is held. So it's really, really nice. Some other things you can do with this screen, by the way, it has something called touch and track, which allows you to track focus and exposure by touching the LCD screen. So if you see something, you say, I want it to focus right there and track that, well, it will do that as well. Or, hey, I want my exposure to be set on this thing right there. You can do that as well. So it's really, really, really nice. But the thing I really like about this camera, and what I think sets it apart from other camcorders in this class, is the audio capabilities. So one of the big drawbacks to most small cameras like this is they only have built-in microphones and not very much support for external recording, which means for professional applications you run into all kinds of problems because, well, the audio quality isn't very good. Well, this camera has two microphones built in right here, and these give you amazing stereo separation. So if you're just recording ambient sound and maybe you want to record a family reunion or something, these microphones do a great job. But it comes with this detachable handle. And what happens is this handle actually slides right onto the hot shoe. And once it's on there, there's two little screws on the back. And so this guy slides on and then totally locks into place. So once it's on there, I can lock this into place. I can put these screws in right here, and this is totally locked in, and it becomes part of the camera. And what happens is now we have a bunch of new controls that we're able to use. Plus, we can hold this from the top, which is really cool. One of the things, before I talk about all these controls, that I really like about this is that now there is something, there's a little button right here that says Powered IS. And so this has image stabilization that keeps the camera, when you're wobbling around a little bit like this, it stabilizes the image, but you can even have powered image stabilization, and you can do that by pushing this button right here. And so by holding the camera this way and pushing the button, not only do you have a nice stable platform, but you have the added extra feature of powered image stabilization. So it really gives you a rock solid image without a tripod. Now, it's always better to use a tripod, but if you don't have one, this works really, really well. Now up here, what we have is all those audio capabilities that I talked about earlier. So on the reverse side here, we have two balanced inputs. And what that means is you can plug in an external wireless microphone if you need to, so you can put the wireless mic receiver here and then a microphone on your subject, so when you're recording far away you could do that. Or perhaps if you're doing a corporate event, or maybe you're at a church or recital, you could even get an output from the soundboard and put it right into the camera, and so you're getting perfect audio every time. And on the side here you have manual controls, and so you can control this up or down. So you can take the mic inputs up or down, and you can manually set how the gain is on this. You've got mic attenuation if you're at a loud event. You can even choose either line or mic inputs. So if you need to plug in something from like a soundboard or a CD player or something, that will work just fine, a regular mic input. And you even have phantom power. So if you have a microphone like a shotgun mic or something that needs 48 volts, well, you can turn that on, and you can even use microphones that require phantom power, which is a really, really nice feature. And then you can alternatively choose between the internal microphones or the external microphones, and you have a lot of audio capabilities and options right there. So I love that. In addition to that, you have your zoom button right on the top here, your start and stop button, and a standby button, so you can lock that on and off. And so you can control this, as I said before, from the top and move that around like a normal, more professional camera. And there's even more stuff you can do with this. There is also, this comes with a shotgun mic attachment, and so there's some screws that allow you to attach this right to the front of this, and so you can add a shotgun mic there and then take the output and plug it into the balanced in, and so you've got even more professional results from that. And this has rubber gaskets and a shock mount on there, so that isolates the movement of this from the camera, and so that even gives you even better audio. So there are a lot of audio options to this, and there are even some that I haven't even talked about, because we could spend all day just talking about how well this does audio. The other thing that I really love about this camera, it gives you more input as far as the exposure is concerned. So some of the things that you would get on a higher end camera, like zebra patterns and things like that, where you can just go in here and see where things are blown out and where the exposure is, things that you'd find on a much more expensive camera are built into this camera. So it's perfect for the beginner, and it's also perfect for somebody that needs more power and more control over exposure and focus and audio, which is really, really nice. Now this also has something that I think is pretty cool. It's the infrared, so you can turn on infrared recording, so you get really nice looks. And so if you're an infrared fan, well, that's built in as well. We tried it out and we thought we got some really nice results from that. And then there are also some cinema look filters that you can turn on and off that give you different looks as far as the not only the colors, but the contrast and things like that. So you can make your home movies or your professional presentations look more like they were shot on film than a little handy cam, which is really, really nice. Well, there's some other things in here I really love. The controls about this, the battery is very small. This entire thing is extremely lightweight. There's some other things here I haven't shown you. There's some HDMI outputs right here on the side. There's a remote, a wired remote input right there. There's a little speaker so you can hear what you're shooting. There's a USB out, so when you want to dump the files, if you don't have a card reader, this will act as a card reader, which is really nice. On the back here, you've got a little outlet, a plug, where you can plug in AC power. Well, it's actually a DC converter, so you can plug this into the wall and run the camera. So if you have a long presentation to record, you can do that. There is component outs right here. There's headphones out, so you've got a lot of expandability, and then the cards where I showed you before, which is really nice. And there's even an input right here for a mini plug for a microphone. So again, there's all kinds of really nice high-end advanced features for this camera. One other thing before we go here, There's also a remote control, and so if you have this up on a tripod or on a stand, or you're shooting from a distance, you can control things like the start and stop. You can take still images with the remote as well as still images with this camera. You can zoom in and out. There's the menu. You can control virtually anything from the remote that you can from the camera itself. And so if you're shooting from a distance, this works really well. So corporate environments, this works great. Churches, this works great. If you're a high-end prosumer user, this works great. If you're a film student, if you just need to make presentations, if you're a YouTube power user, this is the camera for you. I recommend it very, very highly. Again, it's the Canon Vixia XA10, and it retails for $1,849. Well, thank you so much for joining me this week. Remember, if you have questions about photography gear, please send those to me at askmark@adorama.com.
This episode is brought to you by Adorama TV. Visit the Adorama Learning Center, where you'll find photography tips and techniques, links to the gear used in this episode, and related videos. For all the latest photography, video, and computer gear, visit Adorama.com. And the next time you're in New York City, visit our store located on 18th Street between 5th and 6th Avenue.